Let's get started. And in our first story, the chairman of the Ghana Private Road and Transport Union, GPRTU, Kwame Kuma, has downplayed any increment in transport fares across the country. Now, according to him, the recent increase in fuel prices is insignificant for commercial drivers to demand fare increments. We'll hear from him shortly, but first listen to some commercial drivers who are expressing concern about how the fuel price increments will affect their profits.
The fuel price will come because the government, they try. Because if you want to do something like you go noise or every no make you know say you want bring another fuel price at once, no, we soon on they bring it at once. So who drivers with the tire? Yesterday I go buy fuel 1.5. My tank is full of. But this morning I go buy the fuel. I reach the time I want buy I see say they increase the fuel. So I don't understand. So the government make it try. If you want to do something, make it try. Make every no make it know say I want to increase this thing before you do the thing. You know, because the people vote you before you come power. So if you want to do something, you can know people to make you know say I want to do this thing before you do. You see, so with the beggar, make it the fuel price, make it bring it for, down small for us.
When we close from work, nothing you get. There is nothing. You take it home. So if the government, the GPRTU will merge, and if they can do something bit for us to decrease for us, I think it will help us for also to, make some profits home. If they can come out with very big increase for us, we'll be happy. We'll be happy because for that about 3 or 4 months ago, the increase is very big for us. That is not enough. If they can do something little for us, I think we'll be happy.
Now, JoyNews' Emmanuel Jivenu has been speaking with the chairman of the Ghana Private Road and Transport Union, Kwame Kuma, who is assuring passengers that there will not be any increment in fares, at least for now.
We just wake up today and we hear that there is an increase. And they called me with some radio station. And I also drove to the pump and asked. And it's true that they have increased it about 0.2% or something like that. And we know that we have already with negotiation with the government, which if the percentage that we reach 10% going, we can sit down with the ministry and talk about an increment. So talking now there, for the petrol going up every day is no other well for us. So we are pleading with the government that it should try and find a way to stable the fuel destined for us. Because you can imagine that you want to go and buy some tomatoes from Techiman, and you know that you bought it about 3 cedis, and you reach there is 4 cedis. You won't be happy. And if the driver is buying the fuel and is having about 5 cedis or 10 cedis drop money, and the fuel is going up, you know that it will first is drop money. The money which will come to the driver is too short. So we are pleading with the government that it should try find a way and make the fuel to be stable for us. That will be help us.
How is this going to affect your business?
Oh, you know, if you go to work and you know that you end up at 20 Ghana, and if the fuel has gone up, you won't get the 20 Ghana. Sometimes you count 180 or 170. That it won't that well. But you know that we have already with the negotiation with the government that if the increment having above 10% or 10%, we can start down and think about the increment. So for talking about now, we can't increase. Because of that, we are pleading with the government that they should try find a way and help us for the business to go growing up. If not that, it won't help us.
Should passengers be worried for an increase in prices?
Oh, this one in say there, you know that if increment will come, it's not only GPRTU, all the stakeholders, Protoa, cooperative, and everything. You go and meet the ministry, but all of them know that the percentage which has come on, we can't go and sit down and say that we want to make increment. And if you want to make the increment, it's not only the fuel. All the component, they call a consultant and make everything before you go and present it to the ministry before the increment will come. But with this increment, we can't make any increment again.
So passengers shouldn't be worried about
Oh no, for that one, the passengers should not worry about it. But we drivers are pleading with government that it should try and find a way and make the fuel to be stable.
Well, let's move on. Family members of 53-year-old ECG prepaid vendor who was killed at Awoshi Barnyard are appealing to government to ban the use of motorbikes after 6 p.m. The deceased, Veronica Aiken's Mensa, was attacked by 2 armed robbers on a motorbike. Maxwell Agbagba visited the family house and brings us more.
We are currently at the scene of the incident, Awoshi Barnyard. Behind me is the shop where the robbery took place. Some eyewitnesses we've been speaking to say there was blood splattered all on the floor. They also tell us that on the day when the incident happened, 2 women who were in the shop with the deceased were made to lie face down before the 53-year-old woman was shot in her head. Some owners of the 6 adjoining shops here we've been speaking to say on the day when the incident happened, they had closed around that time, 7:30 p.m. Scores of sympathizers gathered at the residence of the deceased. In small groups, they discuss how the incident happened. The widower, Ignatius Aiken, says the incident happened around 7:30 p.m. during a brief power outage. He held his wife, who was lying in a pool of blood minutes after she was shot in the head.
And my wife was breathing, it was in the blood. Then I hold her hand. 64, sorry. Right now, she couldn't respond. So later on, then I came out. I was looking for the girls that they were working with. Then they showed me, then I called the 2, one of them called Akus. Then I said, what has happened? They say, armed robbers came there. Even the girl was shivering. Then we took some white bed sheets. Then we put my wife in the bed sheet. Then we wrapped her. Then we took her into the pickup. Then from there, I was asking them, are we going to Kolebu or we are going to 37? Then they said we are going to the mortuary. And I said, so is my wife dead? And they said we should go. Before we will see, we are at the mortuary, police mortuary.
Daughter of the deceased, Frances Aiken, says her mother's former worker informed her about the shooting.
I panicked. I just came out from the room. My grandmom was around, so I just went to hug her and then I went straight to the streets. When we got there, in fact, there were lots of people around. They didn't allow me to go inside, but my dad gathered courage to go inside, and then they didn't allow me myself. I didn't see my mom. I haven't seen her till now. My mom was a peaceful person. She's so nice. She's nice to everyone. She doesn't even like talking.
The scene of incidents is just about 100 meters away from this busy intersection here at Awoshi Barnyard. A sister-in-law of the deceased, Angela Kwesen, is particularly incensed about what she describes as senseless killings in recent times. She wants government to ban the use of motorbikes after 6 p.m.
Using the motorbike in the system now is a horrible situation. Everybody is suffering from this motorbike thing. So I think the government police should come in for us. It should come in for us. Now, if even you see someone sitting on a motorbike, and even the person is not a criminal, you still got yourself afraid of the person that the motor that is coming. So I personally think the government should come out and do something about this situation. There's so much killing in this situation, and it's unbearable now in the nation. So we are appealing to the media to wake up and then do something more about this situation. After 6 o'clock, if you see now Ghana, after 6, everybody want to go and sleep because you don't know the motor that you go and meet and do something bad to you. Yes, our children and others can't even go out in the night.
The robbers bolted with unspecified amount of money. Investigations are underway to track down the perpetrators.
Well, now let's move on. Take your own security into consideration, and that's the advice from the crime officer of the New Weja District Police Station, DSP Joseph Aky Opare, following complaints of recent robbery attacks at Red Top, which is a community near the West Hills Mall at Weja. Some of the residents currently are forced to relocate from the area due to these consistent or incessant attacks. But DSP Joseph Aky Opare says the police ultimately will do their part by beefing up security for residents, even though he also advises they also must take the responsibility of their security unto themselves.
We want to also advise those people at those areas that at least they should take security into consideration so that they don't leave their places unsecured, you know, where you need to put up barbed wires. Ensure that you do them, you know, and then find some... To protect them. Of course, but you need to also take control of your security. It's very important. Before police comes in, you should be able to, at least, you don't leave your door open expecting that the police will come, you know, to secure it for you. You need to secure your doors when you are going out. You know, some people come in very late, and then it's also security. You have to take into consideration that the place is not very safe, because there are no lights and so forth. And so you try and then come home early a bit, you know. So all those small security things are for yourself. You know, you need to do them yourself. Yeah, because the police will not come and put, you know, barbed wires, or the police will not come and lock burglar proof and so forth. You know, you need to also help yourself out, you know, because...
Now, in the 90s and the early 2000s, this was the best basic school in the Upper East region. Everybody and their child wanted to be involved with that school, the Bolgatanga Preparatory School or the Preparatory Model Junior High School. Even today is arguably one of the best schools in the region. But now that status could be lost, much to the disappointment of its pupils and alumni, because deep cracks in the walls of the school have compelled its management to evacuate the pupils. Engineers of the Bolgatanga Municipal Assembly recently inspected the buildings and advised it was no longer safe enough to house pupils, as it could collapse at any time. Now, some of the current pupils of the school are currently perching in neighboring schools, with the final year students sharing classrooms with children at the KG block. JoyNews' correspondent Albert Sore visited the school and filed this report.
So today we are here at the Bolgatanga Preparatory Model Junior High School. It is one of the most popular schools in the Bolgatanga municipality. And today we are here because this building is in very bad shape. Now, most of the classrooms here have cracks in the walls, and some of the cracks are so deep that you can virtually see through the wall. And we are told that the municipal assembly came here with some engineers to inspect the building, and the engineers recommended that, looking at the shape of the building this moment, it is safe to move the students out of it, because the fear is that this building can collapse at any time. And so the management of the school are trying to avoid any danger that may come as a result. School authorities here have declined to speak on camera, but we've managed to talk to the chairman of the school management committee, Mr. Sanki Azuma, and he has been telling us what the situation has been.
The roofing is leaking, especially the concrete roof, is leaking. That is causing most of the cracks, and maybe you can even see up this way, the ceiling is coming down. You can even see the windows, how they are. The concrete, the iron rods are rotten because of the water. This school was put up in the early 70s. It has never seen any renovation. So the assembly came and inspected the building and decided that the school was not safe to house the children. Really, it's a difficult thing. I know right now you even see some of the teachers around here, and it means the headmaster, the headmistress will have to at least walk to the nearby school once we have shared them to various classrooms or schools. I remember the municipal engineer was even saying that they will have to inspect the foundation of the building to see whether it is worth carrying the building itself.
We've also been to the KG building where some of the final year students are being taught, and a lot of them actually expressed discomfort.
The class is just one class, but they've partitioned it into 2 equal parts. So now we are about 50 to 60 in the class, which makes briefing difficult in the class. And our little ones there, when we're in the class, during their break, they come around the veranda and they are running around, entering our class, which disturbs lessons. And when a teacher is in the next class teaching, from here you can hear from there. This situation is a really bad one. We won't be able to learn well, so this is going to affect our grades in the BEC.
When we are at the old block, the classrooms, almost half of them were cracked. And whenever it rains, the rain comes into the class, we can't sit and even learn. We will have to move out of the class and stay on the veranda. And on the veranda too, it's not safe. Because whenever we are even walking, it feels like the school is about to collapse. So we plead on the government to come and help us on this issue. Because as it is like this, we sense there's going to be a poor performance in our BEC.
When we were in that building, when it was good, studies was comfortable, we were able to learn. If a teacher comes, you can study well. But when it got bad, if it is raining, the water always comes in, we can't study. So we always come out and stand in the verandas. So it was not good for us.
When it rains, we can't stay in the class, so possibly they have to move us here and then renovate it. But there's another school at Experimental, so our teachers have to walk far distance to there and teach, and which is not good. So for this, it will affect our studies.
Bolgatanga Preparatory Junior High School, when I was growing up, was one of the best schools in the Bolgatanga municipality. The colleagues that I had in this school always had the bragging rights because this school was one of the top schools in terms of infrastructure and even how well the students were performing in the BECE. And for many of the old students of this school who are now looking at the current situation, it is something that is sad for them. And we understand that the Bolgatanga Municipal Chief Executive has been to this school to assess the situation and has promised that something will be done as soon as possible. But for now, it looks like this school is not going to be functional for some time. My name is Albesori, reporting for JoyNews.
Well, there's always a case for maintenance.
Yeah. Tragic story there, actually.
Yeah, tragic. Sometimes good and currently bad, as it is.
Well, let's hope they can sort out their issues and go back to the greatness they were reputed for. But I'll tell you what we are reputed for bringing you a packed breakfast every single morning, and today is no exception. It's all kicking off right after these with the newspaper headlines.